MHP maintenance is important to ensure that all components function well, unanticipated breakages are avoided, and electricity supply remains stable. Regular maintenance is the key factor towards sustainability. Routine maintenance checks for an MHP include: check wire and intake for erosion damage, leakages and cracks, especially in rainy season when the river can deliver much silt and debris and can erode unstable riverbanks. Monitor the river's water level to understand the river's mood. Apply grease to gears and gate screws at least once every month to avoid rusting. Lock the water gate if not used for security purposes. Drain and clean sand trap and Forebay at least once or twice a month to avoid sediments entering the Penstock and Turbine. Clean the trash rack regularly to ensure water can flow smoothly. Drain and clean the intake and channel at least twice a year to avoid sedimentation. Periodically check the electric cables from the powerhouse to the customer to reduce risk of electrocution. Remember that the MHP is not a playground and children should not be allowed at, near or in the channel, forebay and powerhouse without adult supervision. Ensure that safety measures are always applied and that system maintenance is done only by trained persons. The channel transfers water from the river to the MHP. Check for leakages and fix them immediately, not only to ensure that maximum water reaches the MHP, but also to avoid cracks getting bigger. Check for landslide risks and stabilize these areas or cover the channel. Clean the channel from grass and other vegetation that may disrupt water flow. The Forebay collects the water from the channel before passing it on to the Penstock. Check the water level to avoid spilling. Sand, branches, leaves and trash carried by the water will settle in the Forebay over time and cause blockages or enter the Penstock and damage the turbine. The operator needs to drain the Forebay regularly to flush out sand and debris and remove trash. Check for leakages in the Forebay and repair them immediately. The Penstock is a pipe through which the water passes from Forebay to the turbine in the powerhouse. Check for leakages and vulnerability to landslides, especially around piping joints. Check nuts and bolts on the anchor blocks. Penstocks that are made of metal should be painted every 3 years to avoid corrosion and rust. The turbine is the mechanical unit that spins due to the force of water. There is a high risk of personal injury at the turbine. Therefore, ensure that the turbine is switched off, the water gate in the Forebay is closed, and that there is no water in the Penstock when inspecting the turbine. Check and clean the inner part of the turbine every 6 months. Ensure there is no trash inside the turbine. Clean the turbine casing from soil and water to avoid rust. Check whether turbine does not heat up too much, especially around the bearing. Check if the turbine is in its normal position. Check for unusual noises and sounds from the turbine. Check that the V-belt or flat belt is not too loose, cracked or frayed and properly aligned with the generator pulley. The turning turbine drives the generator via a V-belt or flat belt. It is the generator that produces electricity. Due to safety reasons, never touch electric connection or wires from the generator when it operates. Check and fasten all nuts and bolts so that the generator stands firmly. Check for abnormal generator temperature. Temperature is too hot if someone cannot touch the generator comfortably with their own hand. Check for unusual sounds, vibrations and smells from generator. Clean ventilation grill and generator fan to ensure optimal cooling. Check that the V-belt or flat belt is not too loose, cracked or frayed and properly aligned with the turbine pulley. Due to safety reasons, ensure that the power is turned off when working on electric equipment. Check wires, fasten if necessary, replace if broken or if insulation plastic is missing. Clean control panel and air-cooled ballast from dust, insect, animal nests and other foreign objects with a broom. Ensure that the panel is protected from water. If using a water-cooled ballast, ensure that the water tank is always filled. Check if the grounding cable is connected to all metallic components, including turbine, generator and control panel. From the electronic equipment, electricity flows into the power line that distributes electricity to the customers. Due to safety reasons, ensure that the power is off when working on the power line. Check for cable breakages due to trees, fallen poles and make sure the cables are always secured beyond the reach of people and animals. Fix breakages by using the same type of cable. Remove tree branches that might rest on the cables. Check customer installations regularly to ensure that installations do not pose a safety risk and that customers do not tamper with the system. Carefully check that safety measures are always applied and that the system maintenance is done only by trained persons. Regular community involvement is important so that customers understand the benefits and requirements of a well-operating MHP. During the initial planning stage, routine weekly meetings with the community will clarify their concerns and opinions. Contractors or project developers should also communicate their planning so that the community is aware of activities, work progress and possible influences on their lives. These meetings also give an opportunity to share latest information regarding technical matters, community organization, environmental issues, river conservation, water use rights, electricity pricing and many other issues important to sustainable MHP. Most importantly, the community can also determine what their contribution should be, what is expected of them and how they can best support the MHP development. Developing an MHP is a lengthy process and the equipment, if well installed and maintained, will provide quality electricity for many years. Transparent planning, including all stakeholders, is very important in this process.